Welcome back to another episode of Scott's Quick Cash Class. We got a good one for you today. Today we're talking about the dangers of being passive and the risk involved in that. And what I'm talking about, and we've all been guilty of this, I'm guilty of this, I'm talking about not inaction, right? So you have ideas about investing, or you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get to that tomorrow, or maybe you just started a job, and you're like, yeah, I'll sign up for that 401k later, but then you never do. And we're gonna just dive into a little bit of what that can actually cost you. Start you off with a story. So I have a childhood friend. We've been friends since I've been in, kindergarten, 5 years old, right? We've known each other a long time, so all 40 years plus. And you know, we've kind of taken different paths in life, and you know, that it's worked for him, this path's worked for me. But recently we just started re-catching up and talking about finances. And one of the things that stood out to me was that, and he's a very smart guy, hard worker, knows what he's doing, and he has done some investing, but he hasn't really taken that active step of being in control of his investing. You know, it's always been very passive, if any, you know, and so he's always wanted to protect the money he has, which I understand. We all want to protect the money we have. However, as we're going to get into this topic, inaction and being passive and sitting on the sidelines will never get you wealthy or get you to where you want to go from a financial aspect. From a personal aspect, as far as life, that's good advice too. If you sit on the sidelines and just watch life go by and don't take action on something whenever you see it, that's going to cause life to go by. And I know I've wasted way too many years with inaction and being passive and not executing on things that I know that I want to do because, you know, scared of failure, scared of what people might think, scared of, you know, maybe what my significant other might think, which would be my wife, or back in the day before I was married, you know, or just afraid to get out of my comfort zone, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So here's 3 interesting statistics for you. The average person waits 3.6 years to act on their first investment instinct. So, you know, whatever age that hits you at, some people don't even start thinking about investing till they're in their 50s or 60s, right? But whatever that is, they're saying the average time is 3.5 years basically before they go, hey, it would be a good idea to buy that stock. And then 3.5 years later, they actually make an investment, right? So that's pretty scary. Another one is 87% of Gen Z say they want to invest, but only 21% actually have a brokerage account. And that number might be a little off. Maybe they're not counting Robinhood and some of these other ones, you know, they're just looking at traditional brokerage accounts. But what I will say is that's fabulous that 9 out of 10 Gen Zers want to invest. That's looking out for your future. The sad part is only 21% actually pull the trigger. So who do you think is going to be more successful in the long run, right? The 21% or the 87%? Geez, the 13%, I feel bad for them. Don't be part of the 13%. And then the last one I have for you is people who act within 72 hours of financial advice are 3 times more likely to succeed in the long term, right? So that tells me it's just about getting in the game. So many people are afraid to get in the game because, hey, I worked really hard, I saved up this $5,000 or $10,000, and it's extremely difficult to do that, especially nowadays with everything getting so much more expensive. But start out small. Start out with $100, start out with $50. Whatever that number is, just dip your toe in the water. You know, on a similar thing, I got into actually buying rentals about 15 years ago, but I had been reading books on rentals for a decade and a half before I actually made my first purchase. And I had all this knowledge, and I would see good deals and I'd be like, oh, that would be a good cash flow house, or that would be a great flip. But I was always too scared to pull the trigger. And so finally I did pull the trigger, me and my wife did, and we bought a house that was $26,000. It needed probably $3,000 or $4,000, and we got it rented out. And so after that experience, because we didn't know how we were going to afford this, you know, the payment was $230 a month for the house. And good news, our first tenant was paying $550 a month. And we had no problem getting in there. And after that, I was hooked. And really what it did is it just took that little bit of fear out or I should say that a lot of it of fear out, because it wasn't actually, it was, all the fear was in my head. It wasn't actually in what was going to happen. You know, my wife and I, we were very active. We got it fixed up, and you know, we got it advertised. We had this is kind of at the beginning of Craigslist and things like that before Marketplace. But we, put a for rent sign on, and we got it rented, and we both looked at each other after we got it rented, and we go, man, is it really this easy? Now it's not really that easy, but it seemed like it at the time. But the biggest thing was just stepping outside of our comfort zone and just taking action. So hopefully, after hearing some of those statistics, that kind of helps you into perspective of what you're looking to do. So let's get into 3 things you can do right now to get some traction in your financial life. So 1, set a 24-hour action window. So if you hear something that you find beneficial, whether it's listening to me or somebody else on YouTube, maybe another podcast, something you read, whatever that is, take action on it in 24 hours. Anytime you learn something new, if you apply it right away, you're going to be much more successful at it than if you wait and go, oh, next week or next month, because a lot of times you forget about that. 2, open a brokerage account today, even if it's only $5. So the next 24 hours, go open a brokerage account, put 5, 10, 15 bucks. It could be Robinhood, it could be Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab. They're all very reputable. But just take action and open it up, and now you actually have a place to send your money instead of being like, well, I'll wait till I get 1,000. Start sending 25, 50 bucks, whatever it is, get it into the brokerage account so it can start earning interest. And then the last thing is track what you learn versus what you applied weekly. So if you're serious about changing your financial future, tracking that progress is key. When I first started with rentals, and we had a budget, and then we had to track our expenses, we tracked our income, and that makes it a lot more tangible whenever you are seeing it on pen to paper and you're tracking it. So track things that you hear or things that you read versus what you actually apply, and see what the different results are. And I guarantee you, if you do this, you will start to see changes in your financial life over time. So hopefully you learned something new. We're going to leave you with the tip of the day and question of the day. So question of the day is, when was the last time you actually did something financially smart within 24 hours about learning about it? And that could be anywhere from, hey, I just opened an Acorns account and I turned on Roundup, so every time I swipe, money goes to my Acorns account. Think about that, but start challenging yourself to do one good financial thing every day. And then tip of the day, wealth doesn't reward curiosity, it rewards execution. And that can't be more true. If you sit on the sidelines, money's just not going to fall into your lap. You've got to take action. You've got to walk through that door, and you got to take control of your finances, because no one is coming to rescue you, and no one is coming to drop $1 million in your pocket. So if you want to get out of the rut you're in, or if you want to get to a better place, it's all on you. So take action. Thank you for watching today. Hopefully you learned something new. If you like what you heard, click the button below, subscribe. Every day I'm bringing you 5 to 7 minute videos to help your financial future and my financial future. I'm learning too as we go every day. Thank you for watching. Until next time.